First question is, tell us about your background and experiences and how they have prepared you for a seat on town council.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to, again, thank the Chamber and all of you for coming. It's a great privilege to be able to address you. I know you're taking time out of your valuable morning, so thank you for being here. My background, I'm a Colorado native also. I remember when Castle Rock was just an itty-bitty town on the map. And that's actually one of the reasons I moved out here. I wanted to get away from the hustle and bustle of Denver. It just gotten too big, too congested. It was taking me too long to get to work. What do I do professionally? I'm a certified financial planner, so I understand a great deal about money and investing. I'm also an enrolled agent authorized to practice before the IRS, so I understand the tax code. I understand Tabor. But I also spend a lot of time in the nonprofit sector. So I understand it's not always about money. It's about people. It's about helping the people, and money is just a way to help the people. My leadership experience really started in college. I kept getting recruited for these leadership positions, one after the other, and it continued when I got into the workforce. I've been a store manager, I've been a director of operations for a financial planning firm. I'm currently the president of my HOA, so I think I have a pretty good handle on what's going on in Castle Rock right now. And I would just appreciate your vote. Thank you.
I'm Jason Bauer. I moved to Castle Rock a little over 11 years ago when I was 25 years old to start my business, Castle Rock Music, and to start my family. Since then, I've been pretty active in the community. Obviously, I'm a business owner. I'm also a commercial property owner in town. I am the Student Accountability Chairperson for Castle Rock Elementary School. I am the Chairman of the Downtown Development Authority and also the Chairman of the Design Review Board here in Castle Rock. I've been on both of those boards for a little over 3 years. And I feel that I wear lots of different hats in town, and I'm able to see different issues from lots of different perspectives throughout town. So that's why I would be a good council person. Thanks.
Morning, everybody. I'd like to thank you for coming this morning. My name is Nick Lucey, and I moved here a little over 2 years ago from Savannah, Georgia, which, as you might know, is looking at the potential threat of a hurricane bearing down, which kind of underscores the fact that I'm very happy to be in Castle Rock. Besides just the elements, Savannah is a city that endures a lot of hardships, a lot of crime, racism, true political corruption on many levels, good old boy network. So when I moved to Castle Rock, I immediately fell in love. I'm a landscape photographer, so I fell in love with Castle Rock through the lens of my camera. And as many of us candidates are, I'm a veteran, United States Marine Corps veteran, so I feel some of the leadership skills that I developed there will help me. And I'm an artist as a landscape photographer. I'm used to finding creative solutions to problems. So you have a lot of choices for town council in District 4, and I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Second question, and we'll begin with Mr. Townsend. What do you consider to be the two most critical issues facing the Castle Rock business community? How do you think the town council should address these issues?
Thank you. A couple of the challenges that I see us facing. To touch on the aspect of growth, I believe that we need to unite the community, and the discourse that has been taking place politically on social media, et cetera, I think is fantastic. It's wonderful that we live in a country where we can exercise those rights of free speech and talk about politics and talk through our issues. I think if anything has come of it that's been good, it's been the fact that it's really increased dialogue and maybe increased transparency in government and gotten conversations going. So in order to exude stability in the business community, we need to unite the community around our leadership. And so that's one of the things that I'd like to focus on. Also, I would like to see a little bit of diversification in our local economy. A large sector is devoted to retail. I'd love to see some light manufacturing, some high tech, and also tourism. It's mind-boggling to me that we're a town of almost 60,000 and we don't have upscale accommodations here. And I think it could really unlock some doors for us if we made ourselves more of a tourist destination as well. And rather than just be a waypoint on I-25 between Denver and Colorado Springs. So those are some things that I'd like to focus on. Thank you.
Thanks. I think that one of the issues that we have, we need a place for people, we need real jobs in town. We need some primary employers so people aren't traveling outside of Castle Rock so much. This allows them to spend more time with their family because they have a smaller commute, and it helps if more people live in town, work in town, and play in town, it's better for the local economy. I also think that communication is very important as well. I think that we can do a better job communicating with the citizens. And with all the new development, I think that small town charm and small town character is very important to the residents that live here. So I think it's very important that downtown Castle Rock be different than the other developments that are coming in. With some of the other commercial retail developments, it does put a strain on the downtown economy. We have heard that some of the lunch business in downtown Castle Rock and some of the independently owned restaurants are seeing less sales because of some of the new quick serve restaurants that are to the north. So I think it's very important to keep the commercial developments in the north very different from what's going on in downtown Castle Rock.
There are a lot of things I could talk about in 2 minutes, but I think the single most important issue we're facing is water. Without water, none of us are going to be here. And again, I'm on my HOA board. And yes, we have insurance, yes, we have electricity, yes, we have landscaping, but hands down, our single biggest expense is water. Water accounts for or utilities rather, account for 40% of our annual budget. That's way out of whack with the rest of the state. And again, the entire city's on well water now. Well, how are we going to deal with that? Because if we grow to 100,000, how long is the water going to last? And I know the steps are being taken. We've got Reuter Hess. We're trying to address that, prepare for that day. But that's the first thing we need to deal with. If we want to grow our town, we have to make sure people have enough to drink. It's literally less expensive to fill your bathtub with bottled water than it is to turn on the tap. And I think that's something that needs to be addressed. The other thing that needs to be addressed is traffic. Everyone I've talked to has said parking is getting very tight around town, both residentially and commercially. We keep widening I-25, and we widen it again, we widen it again. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it has to be managed. Because if you double the population of the town and you don't prepare for traffic, nobody's going to want to live here anyway. So those are the two biggest things I think we need to deal with. Again, there's a lot more I could talk about, but due to time limits, I'm going to leave it at that.
How do you think the town should balance economic growth and community character?
I think, again, it goes to what I had said before. I think that with a lot of the new developments, I think that a lot of folks move to Castle Rock because it has its own small town charm. I think that a lot of people could have moved to Highlands Ranch. It has the same type of housing. It's closer to the tech center where most people work, but they chose Castle Rock because it is its own town. It does have a history in there, and I think it's very important to balance that for downtown and local businesses to be different than what's going on in the north. I think, for lack of a better word, keeping the promenade development and the things that are happening to the north are suburban, and downtown be more urban and can be more family oriented with independent businesses that can thrive. And I think that balancing that is very important.
I don't want to repeat what Jason said, but I agree with him. I'm a big fan of small business. I like the fact that you can walk into just about any shop here in town and talk to the owner. You're going to talk to somebody that cares about the service you get because they care about you, because that's their livelihood. You can throw a rock in any direction, I like to say, and hit a small business owner in Colorado, myself included. But I do think we need to keep it family friendly, keep the events like Oktoberfest, Festival Park. I like the fact that we can go hiking up in Rock Park. I actually like the fact that I have to pass cows on my way to Walmart. But on the other hand, along the lines of what Tom was saying, gosh, do we have to commute for everything? If I want to go to Sam's Club, that's a 90-minute trip for me. If I want to go to the airport to pick up a friend, gosh, that's 2 hours. I think there's room for more services and businesses in Castle Rock. We just have to keep it an environment that's balanced and family-friendly and more natural. I don't want to be a city of concrete. I like our open space. I like our wildlife. So, thank you.
Thank you. As I said, I moved here from Savannah, Georgia, a city that was founded in 1733. So there was a really large focus on historic preservation and maintaining the character of the city. Obviously, it's one of the top 10 tourist destinations in the United States. So coming here, it's interesting to me to see there is an effort to look at historic preservation, and but there's also balance. The building that we're in right now. A lot of people say, "Oh my God, look at this monstrosity." But if you go to Europe, you see a lot of historic buildings blended in with very modern structures as well. So you can strike a balance with that. And as I said before, we don't have upscale accommodations here in Castle Rock, which is mind-boggling. We live in the 6th most affluent county in the United States, and there's really no upscale accommodations choices. So with the infusion of people with disposable income coming into to town, especially in District 4, spending money in the shops, restaurants, nightclubs, etc., it's really going to enhance things for us. So thank you.
Thank you. Do you consider yourself a team player?
If you would have told me 5 years ago that I'd be in front of you today running for town council, I'd say you're absolutely out of your mind. And in fact, I probably would have said that if you would have told me that a year ago. So when I moved to Castle Rock, I saw a town, I saw a tight-knit community that really pulled me in. And I feel like I have a new lease on life. I got really active in the community. I'm a member of the Government Issues Committee for the Chamber. I'm on the Downtown Merchants Association board. I was on the Art Guild board and now started my own artist cooperative. So I really appreciate the tight-knit community. And yes, it's all about teamwork.
I don't think anybody in their right mind is going to say, no, I'm not a team player. I think we're all going to say we're team players. What makes me a team player? I think I practice teamwork every day, just like all of you in my family. My wife has needs, my children have needs, and sometimes I just have to suck it up and say the family comes first. I wanted to be on my computer all day, but my daughter has a teacher's conference. But it's also true in the workplace. Nothing gets done without teamwork. Whether you're shipping boxes around the world or moving musical instruments or helping families plan their financial future, you have to be a team. There's just no other way to live. That's just how business gets done.
So yes, I'm a team player. So again, when I moved here when I was 25 to open up the music store, that store has grown to do over 450 music lessons a week, and I have 37 teachers that teach there. So it takes a lot of teamwork to make that go. And all these guys are musicians, so it takes a very special team leader to make that go as well. Also, on the DDA, I feel that the DDA is a great team. The DDA board, it comes from a lot of different minds and people from different perspectives, and we really work together, and it is a great team. So yes, I am a team player.
What do you see as the main obstacles to attracting primary employers to Castle Rock?
I think we have a bit of a catch-22, and it was touched on earlier. We have trouble drawing people to retailers to town because of our population size. Well, if you're going to attract major employers, you have to have workers. But to have workers, you have to have major employers. So it's a catch-22. In the big scheme of things, I don't think there's a lot of obstacles here. It's just a matter of making it happen, working with the right people, connecting. and just letting them know, hey, we're here, we're open for business, you know, just let's talk.
I think one of the challenges is that if a primary employer wants to come here and build, the cost of dirt in Castle Rock is expensive. So especially compared to the north. And we also, from the past couple of years, we didn't have the same amenities. So when we compete with like a Charles Schwab Center up north, when the dirt is comparable in price, and we don't have light rail, we don't have some of the amenities that they have there. I think when a developer looks to put a primary employer somewhere or put their own building somewhere, they're like, well, why should I do it in Castle Rock versus up there? So I think that's one of the biggest challenges we have. I think we are getting there with Philip S. Miller Park and downtown. I think that primary employers look that they want a place for their employees to go and have a good time and have a good quality of life. So I think we are getting there for sure.
They say if everyone were to throw all their problems into a big pile, you'd pick your own, and I think that that's the case here. There are many, many hundreds of towns across America that wish that they had our challenges. So I think it's just a matter of making it a priority. We're right here in the middle of the state. We have access to a lot of mineral and agricultural resources on a major interstate rail line, close to air lines. And I think it's just making it a priority, you know, and it's the transition between being a suburb of Denver and being a freestanding city and diversifying our economy and having attracting primary industry.
Do you think citizen boards should be abolished?
I do not think that they should be abolished. I think that having people that live in the community, involved in the community, is pretty much one of the best things that we can have. It's also a very easy way to get council representatives' input from the public, because the public lives in the community, and having people involved in the community can be very rewarding for themselves and gives them a sense of pride within their own community and small town character. I can tell you the same, when I got on the DDA board 3.5 years ago, I got on it because I was concerned about seeing pawn shops and check cashing places opening up downtown during the recession. So I think it can be very rewarding and be very important for more public input and get council info.
To answer the question simply, yes. The fact that we're all here today is testimony to the fact that there is a great care and love for this community that runs deep. And so absolutely, it's all part of the democratic process and getting involved in your government. And again, you know, with the volatile political situation, it's opened up some dialogue, created some transparency, and just got citizens involved. So absolutely, yes.
Nick, I just want to clarify, did you mean no? That they should not be?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
All right. Just clarifying.
Yeah, I'm going to fall in line with these other gentlemen. I think representative government is a good thing, and it starts with citizen boards. And, you know, it's nice when everybody agrees, but not everybody agrees all the time, and there's room for healthy disagreement. There's room for healthy discussion. Our whole country was founded on the idea of representative government, and it starts with the average citizen. So, no, I would not abolish them at all.
The participant in the audience wants to hear about 3 issues: the quiet zone, Tabor, and the southwest quadrant.
Okay. Well, how long do I have?
Take your time.
2 of those issues to me are rather interrelated, Tabor and the quiet zone. I think Mr. Chip Wilson has done a wonderful job of bringing the quiet zone to the forefront. It's an issue that's very important to my constituents in District 4. I think, I hear a lot of people saying that the train noise is nostalgic, and they like that sound. You know, get a CD. You can get a CD that has train sounds on it. If you put some headphones on. No, but seriously, I'm a block from the tracks, and I leave my window open at night, and it feels like the train's going through my head. So I am very much pro-quiet zone, and I think that some of the things that we can spend Tabor monies on would include a quiet zone if they're not refunded to the people. And then the third part of that question,
Southwest quadrant.
I don't know what that is,
Okay.
but I will do my research. Is that the
And I
right
believe,
answer?
and then the person who wrote the question, I believe this is Dawson Ridge, correct? And what, maybe how we should address that, is that accurate?
Southwest quadrant is Dawson Ridge.
Dawson Ridge, right? And,
Maybe Plum Creek all the way down to Dawson Ridge.
okay, and there was a development there, and I think it hit some financial.
If we're talking about the
hard times.
vacant
Right.
property there,
Right,
I think there should be an effort to avoid that type of situation in the future.
okay.
Well, when I was out gathering signatures to get on the ballot, one of the first issues I ran into was the quiet zone. Somebody's like, "Are you going to fight for the quiet zone? Are you going to fight for the quiet zone?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm just learning about the quiet zone, but it sounds like an okay idea." And a few doors down, I ran into somebody else, and the first words out of the mouth, "Don't you dare let them put in that quiet zone." So there's definitely some diversity of opinion. I know Chip has fought very hard for that in our district, and I agree it's a very nostalgic sound. I happen to like it. I think to a point we have to be true to our founding, because we started out as a train stop. In fact, the Castle Rock Museum is the old original Castle Rock train stop. But there's some infrastructure issues. It wouldn't be under local control, it would be under federal control. And if we put it in as it is now, when the federal government says jump, we have to say how high. And I don't think that's a situation that's acceptable to the people of Castle Rock. So I agree, everybody needs a good night's sleep. It's just a matter of making it work.
Stranger thing. Go ahead.
As far as Tabor, to me, it's up to the citizens. $43 is not a lot of money to me. It's a tank of gas. If people vote to invest that in our town, great. If they want a $43 refund, great. I'm content to leave that up to the population. As far as the Southwest quadrant, I'm in the same boat as Mr. Lucey. I've been asked a lot of questions about that. I know there's a golf course out that way. But I'm always open to listening to good ideas.
So I think the quiet zone simply is a health issue. I think that it's unique because we have a historic neighborhood that lives right next to it. And those people have lived in their homes for a very, very, very long time. I also don't think it's right for the federal government to come in 2005 and make a choice to make that train horn louder. I think that back in the day, for lack of better words, it used to be a steam engine toot, and now it's 110 decibel blaring, obnoxious noise that is a health issue for the residents that live there. I feel that it should be a priority. It should be put in the budget. I don't feel that we should have leftover Tabor money and use a quiet zone as an afterthought. I think it needs to be in the budget and it needs to be paid for. Any leftover Tabor money should be refunded back to the citizens. I feel that that money is their money, no matter how large or how small it is. I understand it can be tricky when amounts are small, and other municipalities may have a credit to the water bill. I think that that would be appropriate, but I think at the end of the day, any money left over from the budget is the citizens' money. It should go to them by default. As far as the Southwest quadrant, I think that that would be an excellent place for a primary employer. I know that there's challenges because the dirt is expensive and the amenities aren't there, but I think that that land down there would be a great use for a primary employer.
What is your opinion on having a town-wide election for mayor?
Yeah, I think that there's pros and cons to it. You know, one, I'm not sure that we're at a population to where we have enough funds for a full-time mayor. I do think that there are benefits to having a representative on council that is at large, that does not represent a district. You hear oftentimes, my constituents don't want this, my constituents, but we're all one town. We don't all represent our own 7 cities. So whether it be the mayor that is at large or elected, right now the mayor doesn't have any other, he doesn't have any other power besides running the council meeting, and I think that's good. But I think if we were to elect an at-large member on council to represent the town as a whole, then having an at-large mayor may be a good option to look at.
With all respect to Mr. Donahue, I've been told being mayor of Castle Rock is really primarily a ceremonial role. His vote does not carry any more weight than anybody else's vote. He's basically the moderator of a meeting, and for that I thank him. I understand he's very good at it. But you hear the term mayor, and you think of a guy that has the keys of the city and calls all the shots, and that's not what the mayor is in Castle Rock. There is a guy who's perhaps a team captain. He's a moderator of a meeting, but he's not someone that's a dictator, and I think that's a good system. If it's not broken, don't fix it. I don't think the mayor has so much power in Castle Rock that we need to change the system.
I was just about to say, we have a saying in Georgia, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So you took the words right out of my mouth. I feel like unless there's a compelling argument to have a strong mayor, we've had the town council, town manager system here in place for a while, and it seems to work just fine. So unless I'm proven that there's a compelling reason for that, I think we maintain our course. And it plays to the strengths of the council. The council is made up of 7 representatives from each district, and it is the example of teamwork. So I believe in our current system.
So the last question, and I just want to let the person in the audience know that Castle Rock does have a community college presence, and there are efforts in play to expand the community college. With that, the question to our candidates is that how do you feel about supporting higher education in Castle Rock?
I enthusiastically support institutions of higher learning here. In Savannah has one of the best art colleges in the country, and they bought up a number of buildings in the downtown area as their campus, so the campus is completely integrated into the downtown area, and it's fascinating to see the contrast between some of these old-time Savannah, Georgia folks and these kids with green hair walking around town. So there are so many intangibles, there's so many trickle-down elements culturally of that kind of situation where you have a college in a town. So yes, absolutely for it.
This is an easy question. Do I support higher education? And the answer is of course. I think probably the biggest benefit of having a stronger community college presence here in Castle Rock is we would allow our high school students an opportunity to take advanced classes. Do we have that opportunity now? Not so much. But if they could go somewhere in town to take calculus classes, to take advanced chemistry classes, I think that'd be a huge benefit, both to the children and to the parents. I support the arts. I'm a lifetime learner myself. I studied mathematics. And higher education is changing. There's a big movement towards online education. But there's something to be said about a good old-fashioned classroom presence. So yes, I support this.
I definitely support it. Myself, I have 2 kids, and when I look at college, 4-year college is crazy expensive. So more often than not, you see, I have several employees that go to ACC and are working on their 2-year degree, and then they work in my store, as well. It brings culture into town, it brings diversity into town, it brings jobs into town, so all around, it's good. My wife actually just recently went back to school. She has her master's degree, but now she drives all the way up north to take classes at a community college in Aurora. So having an option like that here for even our adult community would be good.